Let me ask you a straight question. Why do people walk on eggshells around certain men in the office, the gym, or the bar? It's not because those men are inherently kind. It's not because they're throwing money around or acting like the smartest guys in the room. It's because nobody, absolutely nobody, can figure out what they're going to do next. Over 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli decoded this exact human glitch. And guess what? Human nature hasn't changed a bit. People don't respect what they can easily wrap their heads around. They respect what they cannot predict. The exact second you become readable, you become manageable. The second you become manageable, you become completely irrelevant in the corporate ladder and social circles alike. Think about the guy who constantly gets taken for granted. The one who gets walked over, ghosted, or easily dismissed. What's his baseline trait? He's predictable. People know exactly how he'll react when they push his buttons. They know exactly how far they can slide across his boundaries. They know exactly what disrespect he will tolerate. And that data? It's a psychological weapon being used to keep him at the bottom. Niccolò Machiavelli famously penned the ultimate truth: it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But let's take the Machiavellian doctrine a step further for the modern world. It is infinitely better to be unpredictable than either. Fear fades. Love dies. But absolute confusion? Confusion keeps people permanently off balance. And a man who keeps everyone off balance answers to no one. If you're ready to transform into the kind of man no one dares to test, drop the phrase "I am untouchable" in the comments right now. Let's see who is actually locked in. The diagnosis: you're an open book. Here is the brutal truth your friends won't tell you. You've been entirely too easy to read. You have operated like an open book your entire life. And what happens to open books? They get skimmed, used for information, and tossed right back onto the shelf. Every time you blew up in anger, they mapped your triggers. Every time you shut down and went quiet, they knew they'd won the psychological chess match. Every time you handed out cheap, immediate forgiveness, they learned your personal boundaries were a complete bluff. You literally trained people how to mistreat you. Not with your words, but with your patterns. This is Machiavellian psychology at its core. People aren't sitting around studying you consciously. They are doing it instinctively. They poke your boundaries. They test your patience. They push your limits. And every single emotional reaction you handed them was free data. Data they stored. Data they utilized to control you. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that men who wear their strategies and emotions right on their faces are handing their adversaries a literal roadmap to their own destruction. It's a map that says, here's where I snap. Here's where I fault. Here's exactly how much pressure it takes to break me. And people will apply that exact amount of pressure. Every single time. This isn't a cynical outlook. This is the cold, hard architecture of human nature. The wolf doesn't broadcast his hunger before he strikes. The storm doesn't offer an apology before making landfall. And the man who wields legitimate high-level power never lets anyone see what's coming down the pipeline. You've spent your life reacting. Reacting to a slick comment, reacting to a betrayal, reacting to petty provocations. And every reaction confirmed that they still held the keys to your emotional kingdom. That access ends today. The foundational move of Machiavellian supremacy is becoming unreadable. You must control what people see and dictate what they feel around you. Make them work genuinely strained to figure out where you actually stand. Most men will never master this. They remain transparent, starving for validation, desperate to be understood by the crowd. But you aren't most men. You're reading this for a reason. The highly predictable version of you is officially finished. If something just shifted in your gut, type "the old me is dead" in the comments. Say it like you mean it. That's where the real shift begins. The philosophy, Niccolò Machiavelli's forbidden protocol. Let's look at the strategist himself. Niccolò Machiavelli, Florentine diplomat, elite political tactician, and arguably the most misunderstood mind in human history. Mainstream culture calls him evil. They call him a manipulator. They call him dangerous. And you know what that proves? It proves his formulas work. See, Machiavelli didn't waste time writing about how the world should operate in a perfect utopia. He analyzed the world as it actually exists. And reality isn't a meritocracy. It isn't inherently fair. It doesn't automatically hand trophies to the nice guys and punish the cutthroats. It rewards the master strategist. It respects the highly calculated. And it completely, ruthlessly devours the naive. His masterpiece, The Prince, wasn't an endorsement of tyranny. It was a survival manual for the highest echelons of power. It was a surgical, cold breakdown of how influence moves, how leaders ascend, and why most men collapse. They don't fall because they lack strength, they fall because they are entirely predictable. Here is the lesson they intentionally omit from school curriculums. Machiavelli stated that a true leader must possess the traits of both the lion and the fox. The lion to terrify the wolves, and the fox to recognize the hidden traps. Most men pick a single lane. They play the pure lion, aggressive, loud, reactive, and incredibly easy to bait into a trap. Or they play the pure fox, clever, cautious, but entirely too terrified to ever execute a strike. The truly dangerous individual, he knows exactly when to activate which persona. And nobody around him ever knows which version is walking through the door. Do not confuse this unpredictability with chaotic behavior. Chaos is just weakness wearing a loud costume. Unpredictability is total, calculated control dressed up as a mystery. There is a massive gulf between a volatile man who throws tantrums and a composed man who simply smiles when everyone expects him to explode. One is a hostage to his neurology. The other completely owns the room. Niccolò Machiavelli recognized a fundamental human flaw. People project their own psychology onto everyone else. They assume you crave what they crave. They assume you fear what they fear. They assume your next move will mirror your last one. Smash that assumption, and you instantly dissolve their leverage over you. This is why the most dominant figures in American history, from corporate titans to political heavyweights, were never fully understood by their peers. They were analyzed, whispered about, and scrutinized, but never figured out. The moment someone completely charts your psychology, they own a piece of you. A true student of Machiavellian power belongs entirely to himself. No one gets a map to your mind. No one gets a manual to your reactions. If Machiavelli's logic makes more sense to you than a college degree, drop the folks and the line in the comments right now. The mechanics, neurological domination. Now let's look at the literal psychological warfare that occurs inside someone's brain when they realize they cannot predict your next move. This isn't just about earning respect. This is about absolute neurological domination. The human brain is fundamentally a prediction engine. Its primary biological function isn't to create art or feel emotions, it's to predict what happens next, to conserve energy. In every single interaction you have, the other person's brain is running a background simulation. It's calculating your next sentence, anticipating your reaction, and mapping your behavioral trends. Why? Because the brain equates predictability with safety. And safety breeds relaxation. Relaxation breeds a total lack of attention. And ultimately, familiarity breeds contempt. The exact second someone feels 100% certain of who you are and how you will respond to a scenario, you become psychological furniture. Functional, present, but totally ignored. But the moment you introduce strategic uncertainty, the moment your behavior deviates from their internal script, their brain chemistry completely alters. Their cortisol levels spike, their attention focus sharpens, they become hyper-aware of your physical presence. Suddenly, every word you utter carries immense gravity. Every silence you maintain feels heavy and loaded. Every move you make gets thoroughly analyzed at the water cooler. You didn't change your vocabulary, you simply raised the psychological price it costs them to understand you. And humans naturally place a premium on whatever costs them effort. In behavioral psychology, this is known as intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes you are highly engaged. Sometimes you are completely detached. Sometimes you are warm. Sometimes you are a closed vault. The mind that cannot map your pattern becomes completely obsessed with decoding you. That mental obsession is what translates into ultimate leverage and respect. But let's clarify a critical boundary. The guy who is randomly erratic is not being Machiavellian. He's just emotionally unstable. Instability repels people. The strategic man is intentionally inconsistent. He knows exactly when to project warmth and precisely when to withdraw it. He knows when to speak and when a dead silence will hit harder than an insult. This requires a level of discipline most men will never possess because they are addicted to social approval. They suffer from a desperate need to make people feel comfortable. Cut that leash. Stop managing other people's emotional comfort at the expense of your own stature. Stop shrinking your persona into a safe, predictable shape just so insecure people don't feel threatened around you. Your presence shouldn't be a safe space. It should be a major event. If this is rewiring your mindset, drop "my presence is an event" in the comments section. The tactic, silence is the ultimate power move. Let's dissect the anatomy of high-level silence. I am not talking about the quietness of a man who has run out of ideas, or the meek silence of someone swallowing his pride. I am talking about the deliberate silence of a man who treats his words like high-value currency, recognizing that most people are socially bankrupt. Average people spend words like water. They babble to fill every minor pause because silence feels like an open wound to them. They over-explain their choices, over-justify their actions, and overshare their private lives. They talk when they're anxious, they talk when they're intimidated, and they talk when they should be aggressively observing. Every unnecessary sentence is a piece of sovereign territory you hand over for free. Machiavelli warned that a leader who talks too much inadvertently broadcasts his strategy before the battle lines are even drawn. Most men lose the negotiation before it starts simply because they cannot stop talking. Here's what happens in a corporate boardroom or a social setting when you refuse to fill the void. When you sit comfortably inside a prolonged pause that makes everyone else sweat, the social hierarchy instantly recalibrates. The individual who scrambles to fill the silence is the one starving for approval. The individual who can let the silence hang, own it, and weaponize it, that's the person who needs absolutely nothing from the room. And the person who needs nothing from the room automatically holds the high ground. Think about the most commanding figures you've ever met. Did they ramble? Did they laugh nervously to smooth things over? No, they spoke selectively. When they did open their mouths, people leaned in. Not just because of the content, but because of the sheer discipline the silence represented. When you deploy silence during a conflict, the other person's threat response goes into overdrive. Their brain, expecting a standard argument, suddenly has zero incoming data to process. And a human brain with no data doesn't shut down, it starts manufacturing worst-case scenarios. It fills the void with its own deep-seated insecurities, projections, and fears. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting their own instability. They will start talking faster, stuttering and unraveling, not because of what you did, but because of what you refused to do. That is the terrifying elegance of Machiavellian silence. It requires zero shouting, zero loss of composure, and zero physical aggression. You simply step back mentally and let their own internal anxieties dismantle them. The coldest response to blatant disrespect isn't a fiery argument. Anger proves they successfully rattled your cage. The true Machiavellian response is a long, unblinking look, followed by a total vacuum of words. Let them sit in it. Let them wonder what's being calculated behind your eyes while you hand them absolutely nothing to work with. You are communicating the ultimate insult without saying a word. You do not rank high enough to warrant my emotional energy. The strategic withdrawal there, is a psychological maneuver so completely counterintuitive to our modern, hyper-connected culture that 99% of men will never execute it. The move is simple: disappear. Not out of depression, not out of defeat, but with the cold calculation of a strategist who knows that intentional absence is a devastating leverage tool. Every human dynamic runs on a basic economic model: supply and demand. When you are constantly accessible, constantly replying within 30 seconds, and always available to hang out, you completely flood the market. You drive the value of your own attention straight to zero. Abundance naturally destroys value. Think about the people you have subconsciously taken for granted. The ones who always answered on the first ring, always agreed to plans and made themselves permanently available. Did you value them more? Or did they just become part of the background scenery of your life? Now think about the individual who suddenly became scarce, the one whose time had to be booked, whose availability became unpredictable. What happened to their real estate value in your mind? It skyrocketed. In their absence, their importance expanded. Machiavelli noted that a ruler who makes himself completely ordinary and constantly available completely erodes the mystique that underpins his authority. When your door is always open, you signal that you have nowhere better to be. And a man with nowhere better to be clearly isn't building an empire. When you execute a strategic withdrawal, people don't just notice you're gone, they instantly begin to audit their own behavior. Their internal monologue shifts from "where's he?" to "did I cross a line?" That quiet, creeping self-doubt is infinitely more potent than throwing a tantrum. You haven't yelled. You haven't demanded respect. You simply removed your presence from the equation, triggering their deepest social anxieties. A master of Machiavellian psychology controls the internal narrative of the room even when he isn't physically standing in it. If you understand the raw economics of your time, type "my absence is my power" below. The shield, feel everything, signal nothing. Niccolò Machiavelli emphasized that a prince must know how to seamlessly blend his nature with his art. Nature is what you feel behind closed doors. Art is the precise image you allow the public to see. And in the real world, perception is reality. When you walk into a high-stakes environment right after receiving chaotic news, and your posture remains flawless, your eyes remain steady, and your face betrays absolutely nothing, what does the environment conclude? They conclude that you are completely unshakable. They assume you operate at a frequency that standard human drama cannot disrupt. That gap between what they see and what they can only guess is happening fills up with one automatic primitive human response: respect. Your pain isn't public entertainment. Your focus is an unshakable asset. Take every ounce of that internal pressure, every slight, every doubt, and quietly convert it into clean, inexhaustible momentum. You are no longer reacting to the social landscape around you. You are actively engineering it. If you are ready to lock in this level of control, drop your final commitment in the comments. I build in silence. Let the world wonder what you're doing next.